The most valuable thing you can do as a consultant is to build your personal brand because as an expert, you are the product. And so building a strong personal brand should be your number one goal. So the $1 million question right now is, can AI help you build one, or is it just getting in the way? And the answer depends on the kind of input that you're feeding it. So there's 4 levels of brand effectiveness, but most people only go to level 2. And when you feed AI level 2 instructions, you get level 2 output, which means you're going to sound the same as everybody else. So today I'm walking you through those 4 levels of brand effectiveness. And I want to give you a simple audit that you can run right now with AI to see where you stand and so you can identify what needs to change. Because if you're posting regularly or you're paying someone to post for you and you're not getting clients, it's because your brand isn't working hard enough for you to generate that know, like, trust, remember. So the audit I'm about to demonstrate is going to tell you exactly where you're blending in and also going to uncover the opportunities for you to differentiate and stand out. And by the way, I'm Laura Zovelson, and this is the Gen Expert Show. I'm a serial founder, former professor of entrepreneurship at UNC Chapel Hill, and an award winning brand strategist. And I created this channel to help you be the go to in your niche. So let's get started with what brand actually is. Because if we're going to reverse engineer one for you, we need to understand what we're actually trying to build. So a lot of people think that their brand is their logo, their fonts, their colors. It is not. Those are just your visual identity, and your brand exists really pretty separately from how you look. Your brand is what people remember and say about you when you're not in the room. So we need to help the AI understand the whole picture if we want it to be able to be an effective content creator for us. So here are the 4 levels of brand effectiveness, from basically no brand to that person who's getting invited on panels and podcasts. And most consultants are stuck somewhere between level 1 and level 3. So level 1 is I help everybody. If you've been in business for a couple years, you already know something for everyone is not a brand. So let's just skip through that one and move on. Level 2 is that you've defined your niche. So this is where most consultants are. You know who you help, and you have a pretty good idea of what problem you solve. But here's the issue. Most people don't get specific enough about their niche for their business or for the AI to help you create really differentiated content. So the way the AI works here is that if it doesn't know the answer, it just makes things up based on whatever is in the model. So if you're just feeding it demographic information like your industry or the company size that you target, and then you ask it to write about how does AI affect my potential clients or how are tariffs going to impact my clients, it actually doesn't have enough context about who buys your services or what you do for them to create a relevant answer. So it fills in the blanks for itself. And this is one of the reasons that the output ends up being, well, kind of bland. So, a lot of times when clients start working with me, we use my 3P framework, person, problem, and practice area, to make sure that we're giving the AI enough context to truly understand who it's writing for and the work that you actually want to do. Now, level 3 on the ladder of brand effectiveness is where things start to get interesting because this is when we talk about why your work matters, right? This is the outcome that your business provides. So, for example, if you help small businesses integrate AI, some people might be hiring you because they want to scale their businesses, but some people might be hiring you because they want to work less and manage fewer people, right? Those are different audiences with different jobs to be done. So they actually need different messaging. It's going to take different content to get them to the point where they're ready to buy. So most consultants talk about their work in terms of what they do. But this level 3 is about framing it in terms of what your clients want. This is about how you want people to measure the value of your work. So it's super important that the AI knows where you stand on this and how it can talk about this for you. So if level 2 is that you're super clear about your niche, and level 3 is that you're really drilled in on your messaging about why it matters to your client to get their problem solved, why do you need level 4? Because level 4 is all about why you're different. And in order to stand out and be remembered, you have to be different. People's brains are wired to remember what's different. And it's going to be really hard to stand out in what B2B customers actually call the sea of sameness if you're just a cookie cutter of every other consultant that does what you do. So that's why this differentiation piece is actually essential to your brand. Here's another way to look at it. Your niche is really all about you, right? It's who you want to work with, what problems do you want to solve, what practice you want to have. The why it matters is about the client, right? The value they ultimately get from working with you. But this level 4 being different, this is what gets them to choose you over all the solutions. Actually, this is what gets them to take action after maybe months of researching the problem and scrolling around and then finally stumbling across you and booking that call. The challenge is that getting level 4 right means bringing a lot of different pieces together. It means creating a position for yourself that can really stand out from your competitors and looking at the gaps in the market and finding that unique angle that's going to resonate with your potential clients. So that's where this audit I'm going to show you comes in. So AI can actually help you analyze your brand against what everyone else is saying in minutes and show you exactly where you're blending in and where the opportunities are to stand out. So let me show you how. So this is how we're going to use AI to do a simple brand effectiveness audit. And it's just 3 prompts, and I'm going to drop all of them in the description. So there is a setup step. Before you run these prompts, you need to identify a competitive set. And this is important. Don't just put in there like who you admire, like who the biggest names in your area are, right? Not who has the biggest following. Really think about who you compete against for the same clients. Like put a couple of your search terms in Google and see who pops up on page one. Okay. It's highly likely that those are the people that you need to be putting into this analysis. And if you can't name them, or you can't find any, or you don't think you have any competitors, that's actually a whole different problem for a whole different video. All right, but let's assume that you can identify 3 to 5 competitors with at least 2 of them being around the same size that you are right now. I want you to grab the URLs of all of their homepages, okay? Now, once you have your list, let's see what the AI can show us. Okay, so with this first prompt, we are going to reverse engineer the ideal client profile of your competitive set. And that's going to let us know who our competitors are really trying to reach. It's going to help us identify places where consultants have been successful in a particular market. And it's really going to help us refine that level 2 of sort of really drilling down on our niche and being able to put more specificity around it to help the AI create better content. So here's the prompt. You're a brand strategist. I'm giving you the links to the homepages of several consultants. Please identify the ideal client profile for each based on their website copy. So here's what you're looking for in this output. I think most people think that they're all competing for the same clients, but I found when I've run this analysis for myself and for other people that you often find out that, oh, this person is really targeting huge corporations, whereas this person is really targeting people doing 5 million a year. And by looking at that, you can either say, oh, here's a space where not that many people are competing in. Maybe I can own that. Or you can say, wow, everyone's really going after this one space. And that must mean that that's where all the big fish clients are. And so you want to compete there too. So again, we're not letting AI necessarily make the decision for us. We're just letting it map out the playing field. Okay, so the second prompt here is designed to give us information about our competitors' messaging. So now that you know who they target, let's look at what they're saying to those people because this is going to help us with our level 3, our why does it matter? So here's the prompt that we want to give the AI in the same conversation. Using those websites, identify the key messaging phrases each site uses. So, this is where I might get a little uncomfortable because you're going to see that a lot of people use proven results, strategic approach, trusted partner, and you're going to realize you're using the exact same language. At least that's what happened for me. So once you see the sameness, you know what you can start moving away from, right? You can start moving away from corporate speak and consultant speak. You can carve out a space to stand out. So again, we're not outsourcing our positioning or our messaging to AI here. We're just letting it help us see the opportunities where we can differentiate. So this last one is the fun one because this is where we're going to compare and we're going to look for the gaps. So we're going to add the link for your homepage to the list of websites. And this is going to help build that level 4, that differentiation level. So here's the prompt. Compare my site to my competitors on this list. Where am I the same? Where am I different? And where are the gaps where I can differentiate? So this is the great part about AI is it can run this whole analysis in minutes and then give you opportunities that you can then consider. So, as I mentioned, when I ran this on my own brand, I actually had the realization that my site was pretty generic and kind of forgettable. And so I had a strong niche and I got my why it matters, but I really wasn't occupying a space that was different enough to stand out or to be remembered. And I do this all day long. So let me be clear that getting this level 4 right can be challenging, but it also gives you the opportunity to look at the different places where you can stand out and then potentially reposition yourself where you can really own one of those spaces. And that's when you get to be the go to in your niche. And when you occupy that space and you use that in your messaging again and again and again, that's when you're going to see inbound. You're going to see shorter sales cycles and you're going to be able to command higher pricing. So here's a couple next steps for you. Number one, review the sameness. Okay. So the power of the reverse ICP audit is that if 5 of your closest successful competitors are using similar messaging, you can assume that that's what resonates with your audience. So you don't necessarily throw that all away, but you need to cherry pick the words that resonate without repeating what everyone else is saying. So when I did this, the person that stood out the most basically had an anti website, right? They didn't have a hero section, they didn't have a headline and a button, just a testimonial that said it all for him. Now, that's not what I decided to do, but I will tell you, it really stood out. And that's the power of nailing level 4, right? If you are that different, people are going to stop and read what you have to say just because your website looks so different from everybody else's. Trust me, that will get them to stop and read. Whether it gets them to hire you or not, that's a test you're going to have to run. The second thing you can do is really analyze the gaps that this process uncovered for you. Really look at these differentiation opportunities and see how they overlap with the clients that you want, what your clients want, and your own superpowers, right? This may take a few tries. So you need to be patient with the creative process here. All right. And then finally, update your AI tools, right? Update that brand voice document you've been using. Add the information for each piece of your brand, your level 2 niche, real specificity there. Your level 3, why it matters, real emotional outcomes there, right? And then level 4, tell the AI why you're different and what you want your potential clients to know about why working with you is different and why the outcomes that you get are different. So now when you ask AI to draft that content for you, it doesn't have to make stuff up. You filled in a lot of the context blanks, so the output is customized for your ideal client as you've defined them about exactly the work that you do, why it matters, and what makes you different. So now that you have a better AI helper, you're going to want to test it out on some content that'll help you build your brand. This is the video to watch next for the 3 types of content that you need to be creating in 2026 to bring in referrals and inbound leads.